Christian life when you can overcome adversity. The thing about overcoming adversity, I know everyone here in this room knows about that because we are veterans. We've had to overcome something in our life, whether it be military related, family related, friend related, job related. The one thing that I will say is you still have to have the will in order to do it. One thing about will is it requires you to put that foot forward to be the better you. Not just for you, but for someone else who might be alongside you. Think about when you were in the military. When we had to go to basic training, we'll start there. Because we didn't know what we were getting into. I know I didn't. I have a military family. They gave me all these cool stories, all this background that they did while they were in the Navy, the Marines, the Army. Well, guess what? I'm the first one that went to the Air Force. They don't know anything about that. And so, when I got there, they were like, oh, you'll have a cakewalk. It's the chair force. And I'm like, what does that mean? You know, I really have no clue. I mean, I'm still new to this. All I know about is sports. All I know about is music. I worked part-time for those who are familiar with Bojangles. You know, I worked part-time 3 years there while also acting on stages. So I don't know what the military has to offer for me, but I know it's different. I heard about this discipline thing. I heard about this yelling thing. They made me watch Major Payne. I said, I know some of that stuff is the same, but not all of it. And when I was just thinking about the way he was chewing them out, I'll never forget those brands hitting right in my face. Hit the knife in. You'll never forget it. And the one that always got me was the little small lady. It was always the small women that's in your face. And I'm like, why she's so little? But again, what I'm getting to is the fact that when you have the will to overcome something, and we come together in basic training, we're coming from all over the country. People coming from Missouri, coming from Texas, California, everywhere. I had never even heard of some of these cities that came from. Of course, I'm only 19. I'm not supposed to know all of them. But I was like, you must live in some woods or some farms or something. I don't know what that is. But the thing was, the primary goal is to get through this together. We built teamwork. And we know that number one word is camaraderie. We built that together while we were in there. You were there with 60 other people, and you're just like, I don't want this many brothers. I don't want this many sisters. And you said, yeah, you're not gonna make it. You knew the ones. You're not gonna make it. And it was just one of those things. We had fun, but it was not fun at the time. You can reflect on it now, but while you're in the thick of things, it just seemed like chaos. It seemed like it was never gonna end. What did I get myself into? That's what I kept asking myself. I don't know about y'all. But I didn't know. I was a city boy. What did I get myself into? Now, I did have siblings, but they didn't act like good. We all came up the same way, running around outside, finding something to do. Because if you didn't, they were going to find something to do for you. And some of y'all know what I mean by that. There's some good choices out there. But what I'm really wanting to get at, guys, is when you have the will to overcome adversity, there's so much going on. Even with your guys' job, whatever it is. Make it personal right now, because that's where we're finna go with your the will for you to overcome right now. We're gonna go personal. So think about your current job, your position for Ford. If you don't complete your assignment, something falls through. Just think about that. If you don't complete your assignment, your task, or dare I say, your mission, something falls through. If it's on the assembly line, could be a safety concern. Not winning motor training of the year that year. You're not gonna have the best truck that sells that year. The F-150 won't be number one that year. But it's because of one thing. If we put everything together though, as a team, it works. You can't spell Ford without all four letters. You need all of them. But if you try to individually do it, things fall apart. So that's a part of the teamwork that we all had in the military that we can bring to Ford, which makes us even better for Ford to want to hire us as veterans. I heard some of you all talking about the things that were lacking with the veteran hiring. Let's not all complain. It's great that we bring it to the forefront, but let's also bring solutions. That way, things can get hammered. And I was sitting over there thinking to myself, they should probably put a definition on the page. They should probably do this. They should probably do that. And I'm thinking that. That's just my brain does that all the time. Me being a business owner, I guess it just happens that way. You're always thinking about the next step. So I love some of the questions that were getting thrown out there, but get on board with helping it fix the problem. Don't be a part of it, help fix. Now, moving on from just teamwork in general, let's talk about this thing, will. Because yes, there is a will to overcome adversity, but you could just be overcoming it. What do I mean by that? I'm glad y'all asked. Y'all a great audience. The will to overcome, will to me has an acronym, and it stands for you win in life's lessons. Every lesson in your life will teach you something. We know this, especially from military training. Every lesson they put us through, every training they put us through, whatever course it was, even, just the trainings within school you did. All of that stuff taught you a lesson. If you misplaced something, guess what? You had to pay for that. You, in some way, shape, or form, you were paying for that. They were gonna put, okay, we now have to look for this part. Okay, now we gotta do a fire check. Okay, now we gotta go. There's somebody that's gotta look for something. Everything is accounted for. Y'all know the saying, president accounted for. But if it's not present and accounted for, something's missing. Because we had to do our part. I got sick and tired of hearing situational awareness. I got tired of hearing attention to detail. These were things that I did not know I would need in my life. That was the problem. But they were trying to tell me that with these lessons they're teaching. And I'm grateful for it now. Don't get me wrong, I'm grateful for it now. But at that time, you're just there like, I don't get it. I really don't understand. What are we talking about here? Could you break it down for me? We're all at different levels in life. We all might be at different levels in the company, different years in the company. Just like the military. You're different years, you're different rankings, legitimately helping a subordinate. I remember my time in the military, in the Air Force, where there were times I was asking questions, and all they kept telling me to do was to look it up. Obviously, I had. Come on, I'm missing something. I don't know where to look right now. Could you please help me? Could you please help me? You know, and when we have these problems, we can't just say, well, we'll get on it. Or look it up. Okay, now if you're really genuinely not looking something up, that's a different problem. Okay, but that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about somebody who is actually trying and putting forth effort. If they keep coming to you with the same problem, something's wrong. And it needs to be addressed. I would know from experience. I'll give you a quick example, and then I'll move on. When I was in the Air Force, like was stated when I first came up here, and I did in-flight refueling specialist, I was also an instructor, so I taught it. For those who don't know what that is, that's when you refuel planes in midair. As we had some young airmen coming through who were just getting out of the schoolhouse and needed some training at the duty station that I was assigned to in Seymour Johnson in Goldsboro, North Carolina. This young man, he wore glasses already, and I'm not talking about shades. I'm talking about legit glasses. He already had a visual impairment in a sense. So he kept getting some could not completes for his flights. Why? Nobody's really saying it. They're just saying, oh, he's overshooting. He's doing it. They're giving the book answer versus looking for the human answer. There's a difference. The book answer said he was overshooting, but the human answer was his eyes were bad. His depth perception was off, and so was the prescription that he was currently using. Now, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I did figure this out. Because I went back into his training folder. I went back to the grassroots. I went into his training folder to figure out why they're doing this to him. And what I mean by that is taking him off of night flights and putting him back on day flights. So it's almost like remediation training. And I'm like, why would he go backwards? So I go through the training folder. I read this one, read that one. You know, there's a pattern here. Well, I fly with him. Yes, I had to fly with him. There was two close, really better planes that were really, really close together, and I was nervous. Very nervous. To the point where somebody caught me on camera yelling at him. I said, you might have to delete that footage. But anyway, as I go and I'm looking at this guy trying to refuel this plane, I'm like, what is he looking at? He should be extending already. I get fed up. I say, hey man, you're gonna have to, you're done for the day with your refueling. I'm gonna finish their training because they have to get their training done too. I can't leave them out. So I finished their training. I look at his face when I tell him to move out of the seat. You can see he felt defeated. I saw the defeat all over. That's not what I was intending to do. But I had to do something in order to complete the training in the other aircraft. Get the mission done. I'll talk to you when we get on the ground. While we're in the sky, you can't talk in the sky. It does not work like that. Things are happening way too fast. To be exact, they were happening at 275 knots. That's how fast they were happening. So I can't talk to you right now. So, long story short, we get on the ground, and I say, hey guys, we're gonna have a debrief after this, but we can go ahead and talk as a crew right now. We finish the crew debrief, we go and do our own separate brief. just me and the other Aaron. I am a E4 at the time. He's an E5. no big gap in the pay grade there. So there's nothing I'm trying to pull on him when it comes to rank. When I'm talking to him though, I say, hey man, I'm gonna have to send you to optometry because it doesn't look like you. And I couldn't even finish my sentence before he bursted out of tears. Because he thought it was over. When you cannot see as an air crew member, that's it. They're gonna cut you off at some point. But I told him, first off, let's rip our name patches off, put that on the table. Now it's just Kevon and Aaron. That's it. There's no rank. I'm gonna leave that rank right there. Why are you crying? And he explained to me he thinks this is it for him when it comes to his eyesight. I said, we can't do that. I'm not an optometrist and neither are you. Let them do their job. Go see them. Well, again, let's speed the story up. The next day, he comes in after he goes to see optometry, and I thought I was gonna have to go chop him in the neck because he was so happy that he got his corrected lenses right. And I'm like, whoa, man, no PDA, what are you doing? No public display of affection. We can't do that. You know that, right? Come on, man. And he was like, oh, I'm sorry. I said, handshake is doable. We can do a handshake. And I was like, what's going on? And he's like, oh, they said it was just my prescription. It was not right. They had to correct it. I said, see, man, look, your career is saved. But you were trying to count yourself out. You can't do that. So with that example, what I'm bringing to the forefront here is saying, don't count yourself out personally when something doesn't look right. When something in the company doesn't look right. Bring it to somebody's attention, and maybe there can be a solution to fix it. I love what y'all did when y'all brought these things to the forefront, because if you never say something, it'll go unheard. It'll go unnoticed. And nothing will ever get done. But in my closing, what I really want to say to you guys is, since we all know about adversity, we all know we have to overcome something in some day, some shape, some form. It's not always a moment of, oh, it's me, why me, or some serious tragic event like mine. Mine was a motorcycle accident. I wasn't injured in combat. I never thought a motorcycle accident would take me out of the Air Force. But it did. It caused my blindness. It caused me to have 2 metal plates in my head to reshape my face. It caused me to have spinal cord infusion. I have 2 rods and 12 screws in my leg. Yeah, I stand up straight, but it hurts. I will tell you that every day. I broke both of my legs to include my right femur. That's the largest bone in your body. It's metal though. This one is metal. My right one is metal. I fractured my fibia. That's now metal, which is your shin bone. And I have a screw in my right foot. So now I have 2 different size feet. I'm definitely going to the VA for a podiatry. I'm not paying for tennis shoes. So I just want to say, guys, if you see something, say something. Which sounds cliche, right? But if you really see something, say something. And if you don't, it's gonna go unnoticed. It's gonna go unheard. And it won't nothing get done if you don't say something. So with the last thing I'll leave with you guys is, in that motorcycle accident, I might have lost my sight, but I didn't lose my vision. And Vision is a mindset. Eyesight is something physical. Why do I bring this up? Because when I tie it back to you all in Ford, us as society and customers, consumers, we see the products you guys make. But you guys are the vision behind it. You guys make those vehicles. You guys are the vision for Ford, the safety for Ford, and the innovation for Ford. But if you take it in a grain of salt and saying, I'm just doing my job, it's just another day at the office. No need for me to take anything, new, innovative, and it won't be Ford. And it won't have that stamp of approval. So if you want to learn more about how to win in life, win in life with the lessons that you've been given in order to overcome adversity,